Tiffany Henyard, the mayor of Dalton, Illinois, is now at the center of a political firestorm that resembles a reality TV scandal more than a local government issue. Once seen as a rising political star, Henyard's leadership is now defined by accusations of corruption, financial mismanagement, and abuse of power, leaving many residents questioning whether her actions will bring down the village. The controversy surrounding her leadership has escalated dramatically, with allegations of embezzling millions of dollars in public funds, making questionable political appointments, and engaging in behavior that has deeply eroded public trust. The most shocking development came when local figure Chris Gonzalez accused Henyard of stealing over $2 million intended for community services and infrastructure projects. Gonzalez claims that the money was used for personal gain, including luxury purchases and dubious contracts that primarily benefited the mayor. His remarks at a recent public meeting sent shockwaves through the community, intensifying concerns about the extent of Henyard's alleged abuses of power. Many residents have expressed outrage, accusing Henyard of prioritizing personal interests over the critical needs of the village. Tensions between Henyard and local officials have reached new heights, with public events now marked by visible hostility between the mayor and the village trustees. This growing divide has put the town on edge, as residents question whether Henyard's leadership is driven by a genuine desire to serve or by a selfing agenda that has left the community in turmoil. One of the most bizarre turns in this saga came during the summer when banners featuring a large image of Henyard's face and the phrase "Super Mayor" were put up along the main route through the village. While initially appearing harmless, the project was quickly condemned by village trustees, who accused Henyard of using taxpayer funds for self-promotion. Further controversy erupted when it was revealed that the merchant responsible for creating the banners still owed the village $2,000 for services, a debt that remains unpaid despite public outrage. Henyard's personal life has also come under intense scrutiny. She is currently facing a lawsuit from her landlord, who claims that her boyfriend has not paid rent since August, despite the couple reportedly earning more than $300,000 a year in taxpayer-funded salaries. The lawsuit raises serious questions about Henyard's character and her ability to handle both personal and professional responsibilities. The accusations also highlight a growing trend in her leadership, one of neglect and disregard for the very people she was elected to serve. Rather than addressing these concerns, Henyard has remained defiant. At a recent public meeting, she dismissed criticism from residents with sarcastic remarks about how people come to meetings just to talk about nothing. This statement was widely seen as evidence of her growing disconnect from the community's concerns. Her refusal to engage meaningfully with residents has only further alienated her from those she was elected to represent. Henyard's leadership style has been marked by defiance and hostility toward critics. In one particularly shocking instance, she publicly threatened to press charges against those who spoke out against her, further intensifying tensions with a disillusioned public. Critics argue that Henyard is more focused on preserving her power than on addressing the real issues facing Dalton, such as the mismanagement of public funds, mounting legal troubles, and widespread dissatisfaction with her leadership. One of the most controversial decisions of Henyard's tenure has been her appointment of Ronald Bohr as the new head of the Dalton Police Department. This move sparked immediate concern among village trustees and local officials after it was revealed that Bohr had been marked as inactive by the Illinois Law Enforcement Training and Standards Board due to his failure to meet requalification standards. Despite these red flags, Henyard pushed forward with his appointment, even obtaining a judge's approval to appoint Bohr temporarily for 30 days while a permanent replacement was sought. This decision angered many officials, who accused Henyard of disregarding established governance protocols in favor of political expediency. The appointment of Bohr has further fueled the rift between Henyard and village trustees, who fear for the integrity of local government and public safety. Critics argue that this decision exemplifies Henyard's tendency to make unilateral choices without consulting important stakeholders or considering the long-term consequences of her actions. The controversy surrounding Boer's appointment has only deepened the political crisis in Dalton, leaving many residents worried that Henyard's leadership is spiraling out of control. In addition to the police department controversy, Henyard faces growing accusations of financial mismanagement. Reports suggest that millions of dollars intended for infrastructure development and community services have been misappropriated or embezzled, worsening Dalton's financial crisis. These revelations have further weakened Henyard's already fragile political standing, with many residents now calling for her resignation. The ongoing financial scandals, combined with Henyard's increasingly authoritarian leadership style and refusal to engage with the community, have led to widespread calls for new leadership. Political experts are closely monitoring the situation, and it appears that Henyard's tenure as mayor may be nearing its end. With mounting legal and political challenges, combined with her defiant attitude and growing alienation from the public, Henyard is struggling to maintain support. With each new scandal and accusation, pressure continues to mount. Many in Dalton are now looking for a leader who can restore integrity and transparency to local government. As the situation continues to evolve, the people of Dalton are left to pick up the pieces of a community torn apart by scandal and mismanagement. The growing public outcry has made it clear that Henyard's leadership has failed to meet the expectations of those she was elected to serve. The future of Dalton remains uncertain, but it is increasingly likely that Henyard's time in office will soon come to an end. The community is ready for a fresh start, one that prioritizes the needs of residents over personal gain and political power. As the legal battles, scandals, and public discontent continue to unfold, the question remains: will Henyard be held accountable for her actions, or will she manage to weather the storm and remain in power? Only time will tell, but the people of Dalton are watching closely, hoping for a resolution that will restore trust and accountability to their local government. The crisis in Dalton serves as a powerful reminder of the importance of leadership rooted in honesty, integrity, and a commitment to the public good. Once a hopeful community, Dalton is now grappling with financial difficulties, legal disputes, and widespread dissatisfaction with its mayor's leadership. Many residents are questioning whether the village can recover from the damage caused by Henyard's administration. While her supporters insist she is resisting unfair attacks, the mounting legal challenges and growing public discontent suggest her leadership is rapidly becoming untenable. Despite growing calls for her resignation, Henyard has announced her intention to run for re-election, a move that has only fueled further criticism. Former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot has been one of Henyard's most outspoken critics, accusing her of financial mismanagement and claiming that millions of dollars in public funds intended for community development and infrastructure projects have been misused. As Henyard continues to fight to maintain her position, Dalton's residents are left wondering how much longer she can hold on to power amid the growing pressures. Whether Henyard will be held accountable for her actions remains to be seen, but the people of Dalton are demanding change and a return to transparent, responsible governance. Mayor Tiffany Henyard's administration has come under intense scrutiny as allegations of financial mismanagement, corruption, and a disconnect from the community's struggles continue to surface. Accusations that public funds were misused for personal gain have struck a chord with many residents, who are growing increasingly frustrated with her luxurious lifestyle amidst the deteriorating public services in the village. Reports indicate that underfunded schools and a widening budget deficit have plagued the town, with some sources suggesting that missing funds were used to finance extravagant private events and luxury purchases. This stark contrast between Henyard's lifestyle and the financial hardships facing Dunn's residents has become a focal point for critics. Many accuse the mayor of failing to prioritize the community's needs, with local activist James Carter summarizing the public sentiment by stating that her actions reflect a complete disregard for the people she was elected to serve. Henyard's dismissive and confrontational attitude toward her critics has only intensified the divide between her and the community. As Dunn's financial situation continues to worsen and legal battles mount, her leadership is increasingly under scrutiny. Many residents question whether her administration can survive the mounting pressure as her re-election campaign approaches. The growing public discontent is evident, particularly as residents witness their town struggling while the mayor appears to thrive. Critics argue that Henyard must take responsibility for her actions. The town's crumbling infrastructure serves as a stark reminder of her administration's shortcomings. The financial distress and deteriorating public services have raised serious concerns about her ability to lead effectively. In an attempt to ease the financial burden on residents, Henyard has proposed a 100% homeowner tax refund program. However, this proposal has been met with widespread skepticism, with many officials, including Dunn Township Trustee Chris Gonzalez, expressing concerns over the lack of clarity and feasibility of the plan. Many view the tax refund proposal as a political maneuver designed to distract from the administration's scandals and financial mismanagement. The lack of details on how the program would be funded only adds to the skepticism, raising fears that it could further strain the township's already precarious financial situation. The gap between Henyard's ambitious proposals and the harsh realities facing residents has only widened the public's frustration. Many believe her actions are driven more by a desire to salvage her reputation than by a genuine effort to address the community's struggles. Basic services in Dunn, such as schools, public health, and infrastructure, have been neglected. Residents feel that their needs are being disregarded, with legal disputes, financial mismanagement, and growing public dissatisfaction mounting daily. Henyard's leadership appears increasingly untenable. Her refusal to engage with critics constructively and her unilateral approach to decision-making have alienated the very people she was elected to serve. As the financial crisis deepens and legal troubles escalate, many are questioning how much longer Henyard can hold on to power. The political climate in Dunn is fraught with tension, and her defiance in the face of serious concerns only fuels further division. The town's residents continue to watch closely, hoping for a resolution that will bring much-needed change and restore their trust in local government. Henyard's re-election campaign is unfolding against a backdrop of growing disillusionment with her leadership. Her ability to secure another term may depend more on convincing voters she can turn things around than on any tangible achievements during her tenure. The town of Dunn finds itself at a crossroads. Will it continue under a leader whose tenure has been marred by scandal and mismanagement, or will the demand for accountability usher in a new chapter for the community? The deteriorating state of Dunn's infrastructure has reached alarming levels. Once well-maintained roads are crumbling, schools are struggling to provide even basic resources, and essential public services are overwhelmed. Allegations of financial mismanagement have only deepened public distrust. Reports indicate that federal funds meant for public welfare projects have been embezzled or misused, sparking widespread calls for accountability. Critics argue that Henyard's refusal to acknowledge the severity of these issues could ultimately lead to her political downfall. Instead of offering meaningful solutions, she has repeatedly diverted attention with what many see as hollow promises and politically motivated schemes. One of the most contentious of these is her tax refund proposal, which, while appearing to offer financial relief, has been widely viewed as an attempt to shift focus from ongoing scandals. With millions of dollars in federal funds allegedly missing and the township facing a significant budget deficit, residents question how such a refund program could be realistically implemented. Many believe it is a superficial gesture aimed more at preserving Henyard's political standing than at addressing Dunn's pressing financial issues. The lack of transparency within her administration, combined with mounting legal and financial challenges, has eroded public trust. Many locals feel that Henyard is more focused on her political survival than on resolving the town's critical problems. Allegations of corruption and embezzlement have further tarnished her reputation, reinforcing the perception that she prioritizes her personal and political interests over the needs of her constituents. As public frustration reaches a boiling point, residents demand that Henyard take responsibility for her actions. Her continued reliance on hollow promises and political maneuvers only deepens the crisis. Many now view her tax refund proposal as a smokescreen designed to distract from the broader issues defining her administration: financial mismanagement, corruption, and scandal. The longer Henyard clings to these tactics, the more detached she appears from the realities of the community's struggles. Each day, the gap between her rhetoric and the needs of the people widens. The prospects for meaningful change under her leadership seem increasingly bleak. The public's disillusionment with Henyard is palpable. Dunn, a town that has struggled financially for years, now faces the consequences of alleged abuse, mismanagement, and neglect. With dilapidated roads, underfunded schools, and overburdened public services, the town's unmet needs are painfully clear. Despite these challenges, Henyard continues to make promises of financial assistance and improvements, but for many residents, these words ring hollow. The growing disconnect between Henyard's public statements and the lived experiences of her constituents is impossible to ignore. Her leadership has failed to respond to the town's most pressing needs, and her continued resistance to accountability only fuels further frustration. Instead of engaging with residents' concerns, she has prioritized her own political survival, relying on rhetoric that no longer holds weight with the community. Meanwhile, charges of financial mismanagement and corruption continue to mount. Allegations of embezzlement and misuse of public funds have further damaged her credibility. As these accusations gain traction, her chances of retaining public support diminish by the day. It seems increasingly likely that Henyard will face serious political and legal repercussions for her administration's failures. The pressure from the community is becoming impossible to ignore. Citizens are questioning how much longer Henyard can remain in power before the weight of her scandals forces her to step down. The worsening financial crisis, coupled with growing distrust, leaves many wondering if she can survive the political and legal storm ahead.